Hey there, fellow travelers. Mark here with Wolters World, and today we're in Copenhagen, Denmark. We're here at the airport, and I think we need to have a little talk about ways that tourists, when they come to Denmark, kind of annoy the locals here. And sometimes you don't even realize you're doing it, but I think it's important for you to know so you can have a better time when you're here. And I think the really biggest, most important thing for tourists to know that they might annoy the locals is really think that the locals actually care. Like, they don't. The locals, the Danes, they don't give a crap about you. They don't care about your time here in Denmark, or how much you love Denmark, or how great it is to ride your bikes around here, or how awesome the pastries are and how Legos from here. They don't care what you think because you're not their friend. Like, you're here for a week, you're here for 2 weeks, you're here for a couple of days. You're not part of their lives, so they don't really care. And it's not a mean thing, it's not a rude thing, it's just how it is. So just know that if you think you need to share your story about what it's been like here in Denmark, the locals aren't going to care. Now, the second thing that might annoy the locals when you're here is if you stand in the bike lane. Look, I'll be honest with you, riding bikes here in Denmark is awesome. Like, there's bike paths everywhere. Whether you're in the city, you're in the countryside, rural areas, in the forest. I mean, it's awesome to ride your bike around here, and the people and the locals really ride their bikes all the time. But what you have to realize is you don't block the bike path. So if you stand on the bike path, if you're like taking your picture, like, oh, I want to get a picture of Tivoli, and you're on the bike path. No, like, that really upsets the locals here. It's like, we ride, you die, tourist, okay? So do be aware of that. And the thing is if you're getting off the bus, like here in Copenhagen, or you're getting out of a taxi, a lot of times you actually step off into the bike path, okay? So do pay attention for that, because you can get hurt, but more importantly, you could really annoy the locals with that. All right. Now, the third way you're going to annoy the locals if you're here is if you're taking public transportation and you talk. Now, I told you, you don't need to share your story, but this is just talking in general. If you're on public transportation in Denmark, it is very quiet. Like, really, really, really quiet. Okay, so you need to be quiet when you're on the public transportation, because if you're not, you're not being loud, just like talking normally. Like, people will give you dirty looks, and they might actually say something. It's not like other countries where they might just sit there and in their mind think naughty thoughts about you. They might be like, hey, okay, so just be aware of that. Now, another way you might annoy the locals here is if you compare Denmark to Sweden. Now, I'm not saying compare Sweden to Denmark and then say Sweden's better, because I'll be honest, the Danes have no inferiority complex when it comes to Sweden. They know they're better than Sweden. That's not really a problem. But they don't like when foreigners kind of compare them to Sweden, because look, they're like, look, we're Denmark, we're way better than anything over there. Like, don't compare us to Malmö. You know, because that's one of the things that might irk them a little bit. So just have a heads up for that. Another thing I think is important for you to know, and when it might, like, not really upset the locals, but they'd appreciate if you did know that, is if you don't know that Lego is from Denmark. Like, they love Lego because it's from here, and they're all about Lego. And if you don't know it's from Denmark, they will be a little upset, and they will point it out to you. And also, don't forget, the plural of Lego is Lego. Okay, so that's another little thing they like to mention to you as a tourist sometimes. And then I think I'll finish off with this one, because this is one thing that it kind of annoyed the locals when I was here. At least it got to the point that they came up and talked to me. And that is, if you don't eat your Danish hot dog correctly, because you have all the stuff on it and you might drip it on yourself. So you got to make sure you got the right lean when you're eating your Danish hot dog, because they'll be like, you're doing it wrong. And they'll come up and actually help you with that. So I hope these like 6 little things that might annoy locals here in Denmark help you enjoy your trip here to Copenhagen or other parts of this beautiful country. And so you can have a great time. So I'll say bye from here at the Copenhagen airport.